Hello, hello. This week, we are covering what to do and what not to do with advertising in your business when it comes to marketing. I'm Alisa Connor. I'm with Alisa Connor Consulting, and I help second act entrepreneurs harness the power of email marketing to grow relationships, stay top of mind with their customers and future customers, and ultimately sell more stuff. My co host is.
Anke Hermmann, taming the tech monster. I help coaches tame their tech monster to make sure that systems and tools isn't what trips you up when it comes to delivering your offers online.
Awesome. So we put this series together to answer the most often questions that we get in the world of marketing. And today we're talking about advertising. And I thought I'd start out um, just talking a little bit about the world and the landscape of advertising, because a lot of people, if you're new to running paid ads for your offers, you're promoting your content, whatever that might be, you may not know where to start. Now we are going live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you have a comment or a question, please pop it in the comments. Hopefully, our comments will come through, but if we don't happen to see them on the live stream, we will go back and answer all of them later. But when I was doing a little bit of research for this episode, I found that Instagram actually has the highest, they call it return on ad spend, ROAS, at 46%, followed quickly by Facebook by almost half at 23%. So I thought that was very fascinating. And then next in line would be YouTube at 21%, TikTok at only 6%, and Twitter at 4%. So it doesn't surprise me that Instagram and Facebook are in the lead. And Anka has some really significant information that she's going to talk about in just a second about when to run ads. So yes, it's okay to run ads, but only if you know what you're doing. So more often than not, people will run ads to sell whatever it is they're selling. And if you choose to do that, you can, but it's also going to cost you a significant amount more money. And then Anka, do you want to go into,
Yeah,
the number one thing that you need to think about before running ads?
absolutely. I mean, in my view, I always say like ads is like they are like alcohol. They just amplify what's already there. So they can be a really powerful tool to scale and really get your offer in front of a lot more people. But I think they work best when you actually have a powerful offer that you know who responds to it. You know exactly who it's for. You have a very clear plan from where people enter your world, where you lead them, how you get them there. And you know on the other end, you've got something that people really want. So ideally, you would want to run your ads when you've actually sold it before, right? So I think most people that I see that struggle with ads, they use ads to try and get their stuff in front of more people because they can't sell it to the people who already know them. So, and I think that's where it's a huge pitfall, right? Because I think it's harder to sell something to somebody who's never heard of you before. Like it's that trust question. It always comes down to trust. And if the people already know you and trust you, don't want your stuff, well, yes, you can say, well, they're just not my target client. Well, then I would question why you want to sell something to people you have no connection with. But, you know, if they could be your clients and don't want your stuff, ads are an option, but you are very likely to tank an awful lot of money with no return at all.
I agree. And I think it's a really worth revisiting the path, the customer experience pathway. And that's something I talk about a lot. In fact, I even have a free guide that people can grab at alisaconnor.com/strategy-guide that walks you through creating that pathway. And so many people just jump right into selling and they don't think through what it would be like if they were purchasing something as a customer. And where I have seen ads do the best is when you're starting to build build rapport and build connection with people, and you're running an ad to say your free download, or you're running an ad that is a coupon for a purchase, or you're running, depending on what your industry is, of course. But if you're going to run an ad, it's not to the paid offer. It's not selling whatever it is that you have to offer at that time, but it's building the relationship prior to that. So, and what something else people do not do with their advertising that works really well is that if they're creating weekly content, so like this, we're creating a live broadcast every week. If we were to promote the most popular version of this, we're going to have lower ad cost and we're going to get higher return because we're promoting something that's of value and of education and that has already shown interest. So when you're looking at ads and you're looking to run ads, you want to look at what is already doing well. And then, of course, like Anka said, you want to promote that because, as she said, whatever is already working is going to be amplified. And so coming up with that pathway, like where are people coming in? And so maybe it's your content. I know for a fact if you promote content on Facebook or Instagram that is doing well, the costs are significantly lower than if you go in with a paid offer. So thinking through that strategy is really important. I'm really glad you brought that up. Now, something else that you and I kind of talked about offline is that people also run ads to just a generic audience, and you have so much power to target specific people that you will find bigger success and you'll have higher conversions the more specific you get. So I find when I work with people, Anka, that people really struggle with this concept of wanting to narrow in on specific people. What do you think what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on narrowing and what are your thoughts on the best way to get it done?
Hmm. I think what you need is that you need to put out something where somebody goes, oh, that's for me, right? That's really, at the end of the day, that's what you need. It's that somebody leans in because they recognize themselves in that. Now, if you have something that's super generic, it's like, yeah, whatever, you know. And I always compare it like the restaurant example. I'm a big fan of Asian food. And I always like, if I go and drive past a big Asian restaurant and they go, oh, we do Chinese. We also have Korean food. If you want sushi, come here. You can have a Malaysian laksa. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably not good at any of it, you know. And then there's over there's the Japanese teppanyaki place. Well, where do I go when I feel like Japanese food, right? So it's like that specificity is, I think, really powerful. Now I'm one of those multi-passionate people. Like for me, there's like, oh, only one person. Like, yeah, I understand the resistance, but I think the good news in that is that we actually get to define the parameters of that niche. Like it doesn't have to be, you know, women who live in England and have a white dog or something, right? So it's like it can be. I find when we can narrow it down around a specific characteristic or which then comes with a specific set of challenges, you'll probably find in the end it will be a certain demographic as well. But if you come from that angle to define a problem that you solve, you know, I think you can then be very specific, but at the same time kind of do get to play different instruments if you want that. So I think you can get the best of both worlds, but you just have to experiment a bit to find what that thing is. But I think it has to be narrow so that people get a chance to recognize that it's for them.
I agree. And I think I'm going to pick on marketers for a minute because they're just easy to pick on. And when you're on LinkedIn, it's true because we've both been in this industry for a while and it's just, you can see, I always call it the laundry list of what you do. And you see these marketers and you look at their LinkedIn bio and they're like, I do websites and ads and copy and like 57 things. And I was like, there's no way you can do all of those things well because the marketing world changes so quickly. You can't possibly be good at all of those things. And so when you, like you said, you have a problem, like for example, you need wine taken out of your carpet. You're going to look for a carpet cleaning company that specializes in getting red wine out of your carpet. You're not going to go find a carpet cleaning company that will paint your house, that'll dust your blinds, that, all of the things.
Mm,
Like, and that's how we kind of look at things. Now, I want to just one thing that came up in my brain when you were talking is marketing a service can be different than the package you offer. And so if you look at what Anka does, her marketing focus is taming the tech monster. And tech is a big problem for people. It's overwhelming. It's confusing. You don't always know how to set it up. If you have a hiccup, you don't know how to fix it. And so, but that's not all she does. She doesn't just do tech. And so I wanted to make that differentiation for people because I think a lot of times we think, okay, well then, if I'm focused on email, that's the only thing I can offer. And that can be really confusing. And I think as newer entrepreneurs or people moving into the space, regardless of what their experience is, that can be something that takes a while to figure out. And don't beat yourself up because it could take a while to figure it out. And if you're marketing in a really specific area, even if you have multi-passionate skills, which we both do, you will become known for something. If you have a laundry list of things that you do, you're never going to become known for anything. And if you don't believe me, look at the people that you admire. For example, if you look at Tony Robbins, what is he known for? He's known for positive well-being and helping people overcome challenges, like in their mental and what am I trying to say? Their mental state, and lifting themselves out of problems.
And he's also a great example because he started out as the phobia guy,
Yeah,
right? It doesn't actually mean that you're locked into that for life either,
exactly. And so how does all that tie back to ads? Well, when you're known for something and you know who you serve, it makes it much easier to run an ad to those people versus I'm going to talk to everybody that's over 65 in any country. That's going to cost you a ton of money and you're not going to stand out in the news feed because there's a lot of other ads out there. And so we want you to make the best choices and get the most for the money you invest.
Yeah. And I think with ads, it's double important to be super specific because I always say, like, you learn the most when you observe yourself consuming content, right? So if I'm scrolling along, there's like the default movement is this. The default movement is just scroll straight by. So, and there's really only two things that make me stop. And one is there's something like, wait. I was just looking for, I don't know, somewhere to stay in Granada. And there's like, here, your best place to stay in Granada, right? Like when it sort of hits the spot, something that you were kind of looking for and it's right there. But I still first look, who's this from?
Yeah.
That's still my first, like, and if I don't know you, I might still stroll straight past. So if you are trying to catch the attention of somebody who doesn't know you yet, where the default movement is this, you have to be incredibly specific. If you're just vague, like I help you get more out of your life, whatever, it's really incredibly hard to catch people's, if they know you and they like you, well, you get away with a lot more. But with an ad, the whole point is to reach people who don't know you yet. So you have to be incredibly specific to even catch their eye in the first place. And then double to make them want to click because, well, I don't know, is this person legit? Is like, oh, I don't know, So like you have to overcome quite a bit of resistance for somebody to actually click on an ad. So being specific is always important, but I think with ads it's just double or triple.
Yeah. And one other thing that it just brought to mind as you were saying that is that if you're selling something in the newsfeed instead of building the relationship, the chances that you're going to catch somebody who's actually ready to purchase that product right then and there while they're on social media is slim to none. And besides that, you haven't built the trust. So that's the nice thing about retargeting is like you have the ability to, like, if somebody does visit your website, not to go too far down the path, but you have the opportunity to get back in front of them as a reminder. So ads can be powerful that way. But if you're just putting out a sales ad, like to sell your most recent product, whatever it might be, and you don't know those people and you're just assuming that you have this vast audience of people that are going to buy it right away, the likelihood of that is slim to none. Because even in regular sales, like regularly getting in front of people, under 3% of people are even ready to purchase or have done their research already. And if they've done their research and you're not on it, they're not going to pay attention to you anyway. So that the likelihood of that, of converting that minute number of people, that would be 3 out of 100 people, is really, really small. Whereas if you focus on the long game, which is what we're recommending, you have a much higher opportunity to stay in front of them, stay top of mind, so that you have built some trust, built some loyalty with them. And when they are ready to buy, or they run into somebody else that has the problem that you talk about,
Yeah.
you are the person they recommend.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that
anything
makes,
else?
yeah. And I think it depends also on the services. And I think there, well, you've touched on that, like depending on what you're selling, if you sell, well, I don't know, like a product, like, something physical, that's maybe even nothing, sort of like a little way you kind of like, oh, that's just like a little impulse purchase, you know, it's still a different ball game from if you're a coach or you sell
Mhm.
like a service where nowhere in hell somebody buys something straight off the bat. Like people usually follow you around for quite some time to
Yeah.
to get to know you, to see whether they trust you enough to even share their challenges with you. So I
Right,
think to
right.
sort of slow down, to speed up is always a good idea,
Yep,
especially when it gets expensive when you get it wrong, right?
yep, I agree. Anything else you want to add, and we can wrap it up for today? And no,
Yeah, I think just basically be double and triple discerning before you throw your precious money onto ads, trying to, you know, get a quick result, just
I agree. And
basically.
so we talked a lot about Facebook and Instagram, and somebody may have the question, it didn't come through, but often I get the questions like, should I advertise on LinkedIn? Should I advertise on TikTok? And it
Mm,
comes down to what we just said, which is, where are your people? Don't
mm,
just throw money on ads because you think that's the place you should spend money. Be really clear and think about the behavior that your potential customer has while they're on that app. So that would be my last piece of advice.
yeah.
If you have any questions or um, have specific things you want to know about ads, put those in the comments and we will respond to those. And also, if you have other things that you would like to know about in the world of marketing, leave those in the comments. But most importantly, we would love to know your biggest takeaway. What did you learn today? What was an aha moment for you? Share those in the comments. Send either of us a DM. I know I respond to all of my direct messages, and it's not somebody else. I do it. So if you
Yeah,
have
me too.
questions, we will both answer. But if you leave them in the comments, you may be featured on an upcoming show.
Mm.
So, in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you being here, and we will be here next week, same time, same station, and we look forward to seeing you then.
See you again soon.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.